Welcome back, everybody. We'll begin this with Randy Collins in Community Development.
Thank you, and good morning, Commissioners and other members of the public. As you probably recall, on October 6th, I gave a briefing to this body about the potential or the request to fund a community wildfire protection plan. A lot of this came from a lot of public input I had received after the fire season we experienced last year, which was by far the most active in our county's history, and basically experiencing a ninefold increase in the number of wildfires we've experienced in the county since between 2010 and 2025. And by the way, I apologize. I'm working on a little bit of a sinus thing here, so if I don't articulate well, please ask any questions. So the general feedback I got from that was that you felt this was a good idea to proceed, so I moved forward and wrote an RFP for this item. I have subsequently had that RFP run by the county prosecutor who's approved it, and I've also run it through DNR, who's the state entity that actually is the one who has to sign off on any complete RFPs. And that's obviously essential because you want to make sure it gets their approval, because there lies a mechanism that allows you to use the CWPP to do things to get grants and other things to mitigate the fire danger that's identified in that document. In terms of, I've done a certain amount of public outreach. As I mentioned in the October 6th briefing, a CWPP is something that involves input from all the stakeholders in the county. So you can see in the report, I've actually reached out to the PUDs, the tribes, the timber industry, the Economic Development Council, the Emergency Management, the Conservation District, and even HOAs. And they've all agreed, a representative of each has agreed to serve on an advisory committee to help formation and make sure that as this item proceeds, that we're getting everything that's going to be relevant not only to them, but it's also going to meet their needs and be as comprehensive document as possible.
Just to be clear, state what the CWPP is so that everybody knows.
Yes, good point. A CWPP is a community wildfire protection plan. And if you are to, and one of the main motivations for doing this is if you want to receive any grants, either through DNR or the federal government, an approved CWPP is a prerequisite for that.
Thank you. Just like to be clear.
No, I appreciate that. So I'm happy to answer any questions any of you might have, but my request obviously is to approve the RFP so we can begin distribution to qualified vendors.
And the previous one is expired.
The previous one has expired. And the other interesting part about it, it was, somebody must have known somebody, because we actually got it done pro bono through a class at Huxley College. But because of that, it was never signed off by the state forester, which is the formal approval step that needs to occur. So, yes.
So according to MRSC, there's 10 counties are expected to have a newer updated invite, and 14 more. So it sounds like some counties are behind, but we're getting up to speed. I think if we can keep it below 150,000, that'd be great.
Okay.
But I do know that it's necessary. Looks like there's some others on here that there's some links to others that have they're completed, so that might make it a little easier for whoever does it also.
DNR actually has a website
Yes.
specifically dedicated, I'm not sure that's the one you're looking at, to CWPPs. I've utilized it extensively, and I've actually talked to several other counties and asked to get information on what was the best course of action, things they did to minimize cost. I actually brought some of those into the RFP, such as things like any travel must be pre-approved by us, any meetings that try and do as many as virtual as possible to avoid additional travel costs and things like that. So I was cognizant of your concerns about that. So I tried to incorporate as much as I could into the RFP to address that.
Right. I think you did a great job, and I think it's critical that we move ahead with it.
I'm trying to think if there's any other way around it, but I don't think there is. It's the best practice for everything we believe we're gonna be facing. And if we don't pay for it today, we'll pay for it in another manner later on. So I don't see an issue with it at all. I think there's no other choice.
Well, that's very fortuitous. You know, I can tell you that, you know, from a cost effective, you've always heard the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. And I can tell you, just having done prevention a good deal of my life, and I've come across numerous studies that have shown for every dollar you put into prevention efforts, and wildland prevention efforts is going to be saving you up to $8 down the road between suppression costs, rebuilding, impact it has on insurance, infrastructure, and everything else. So, in my opinion, and yes, I do have a bias, obviously, because I've done this my whole life, it is a very cost-effective way to make your community as fire safe as possible.
Well, and with this plan, if you find one thing that that could have been a game changer in the first place, that cost savings will pay for itself immediately.
So,
But that's actually a very small cost to when something bad does happen, a very small cost. So
Oh.
if you find one, which I bet you do, it's been a bad couple of years for the United States, so. So,
It
no,
has.
I'm supportive, Commissioner.
No.
Yeah, I'm supportive. I tend to agree with Commissioner Trask that lower is better, but, yeah, it's, you sometimes get what you pay for as well, so,
that is true.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, welcome.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks for sticking around, too.
Of course.
Now it's on you, Travis.
All right, I think we've got Mackenzie and Kelly up first to talk about the return to the Memorial Hall rental policy.
Thank you. Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
You can go first and I'll follow up if there is anything, all right?
Oh, thanks, Kelly.
Ladies first.
I guess so. So we are bringing back the Memorial Hall rental policy. I did watch the meeting and it sounds like we wanted to make sure that certain groups were grandfathered in, which we can absolutely do.
I wouldn't say that that's what we said.
Okay, what?
Because to clarify, I wanted to look and see what the costs were.
Okay.
I was open to the idea of what that might look like, but should they? Can we? You know, so just so you know, because
Okay.
you were looking at me, I did say something like that, but that's not what I said. What I said
Okay.
was the opposite. I just open to the idea of looking at it, but I really want to see the actual cost, because I don't want to, I do believe that'd be a gifting of funds, even if it's people we like, and I don't want to do that regardless, so.
So it costs the county about $75,000 to run that building a year. We get maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 back in return. We don't get, I mean, NA gives us a little bit of money.
Yeah, maybe 50.
We might
or-
rent that once or twice. But other than that, there's nothing else coming in. And we heat it 7 days a week, from usually 7 in the morning until 7 at night. Sometimes later, depending on what group is in there. When the auxiliary's in there, they have their later meetings, stuff like that. We have to provide that for the veterans anyhow. So that's already there. It was the other groups that we were talking about. And truly, there's only 2 other groups that are using that are veteran, and that is the NA, and that is the
Rotary.
Rotary that is coming in once a week to use that. Rotary uses it about 2 hours a week. Sometimes they might run a little long, but not usually. They usually are right pretty on top. They pick up that after themselves. NA picks up after. We have no issues whatsoever there. The issue came about when there was some NA group came in from Thurston County and wanted to use it since we did it for free for nonprofit. That's where it all stems from. That's where we're at.
So, one of the things while you were there, we were talking, I think it was Raymond, she looked up some of the stuff, and what was it? We were still cheaper than City Hall, and we didn't get the numbers for like the pavilion and stuff. One of the things to remember is we're restricted somewhat. We're supposed to not be taken from the private sector. And when we did Mason Transit Authority, we had to look at all those and see what the costs were and price it appropriately. I think one of the other things that we had talked about during that meeting was the idea of maybe splitting the baby. Maybe for, whatever nonprofits to allow for a certain amount. But again, I want to make sure that it covers the costs of what they're using when they're doing it. So,
And then it's not being abused.
yeah.
And so I think that was kind of what was going on. It was being abused by.
I mean, at this point in
By
time,
others.
for the last 10 years, I'm gonna call it, it's been fairly taken care of. It was before when we had some of the birthday parties and some of the other parties that happened to go in there, that it got more abused. Maybe it was looked at more, the Grayson family was in there then, they were on me daily about that place, but, yeah, I mean,
I think abuse, it's more of those that were claiming to bring nonprofits
yeah.
and weren't really.
And I think
The
at
true
this point in
definition
time, I mean, we would have to, nonprofit is a big word. There's all kinds of nonprofit. We talk about 501(c), but there's a 501(c)(4), a C5, a C2.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go with nonprofit, or,
Right.
Yeah. And even still, are nonprofits? Are they,
just because you're nonprofit doesn't mean you can't make a profit.
and are they using the building for a nonprofit
Football.
purpose? Because they can also be a nonprofit and still have their kids' birthday parties there.
Right, and I think the intent of Memorial Hall was just for veterans. We have to supply a place for veterans, and that's a great
Correct.
place for them. And so, I would be comfortable with just sticking with nonprofits, or not nonprofits, veteran, my brain's not working. today.
Veterans organizations?
Thank you. And then everybody else pays a fee.
Because as the policy prior was, it did specify the 501c3, because that, was a true nonprofit. So where we moved it to was putting the 501c3 organizations at half the cost, like you had recommended, keeping the cost for Mason County residents where it was, and then doubling for outside of the county residents. I did have Raven pull all the rentals that we did last year, and we did not charge one person. There was one event that should have been charged, and that individual knows they should have been charged, but they were able to fly under the radar. But other than that, our kind of thought when we were talking about it was, we do have the nonprofits. So if they're coming in there with their normal meetings, then absolutely. But when they're hosting, their auctions or their dinners or other parties, maybe they should be charged because that's outside of their regular.
One of the things after we were looking online, we were also looking at the idea that the Rotary is a great example. They're the ones that came in. They occasionally will do a 3-hour function. That brings the cost way up. Personally, this is just my opinion, but after everything we looked at and everything we talked about, I actually like what you guys have put together in the first place. I was comfortable with it. If there was gonna be one exception that I could support, it would be the idea that we could allow for a 3-hour window for that one cost. Because that
Okay.
allows them a little time for takedown and clean up. And if they are gonna run over, that gives them a little bit of a buffer. But other than that, I think the price was right. but, you know, we'll just allow it up to 3 hours for the nonprofits. I don't wanna change it for everybody.
Okay.
I'm talking about the nonprofits only that would be given that 3-hour grace window at that
Okay,
price.
okay, so give just the nonprofit that.
3-hour
okay.
minimum, or and that's the
3 hour
minimum.
maximum,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Okay.
that's the minimum that they pay for the 3 hours.
Okay,
So they get a little bit still out of it, but that's,
And we're gonna stay with that $40, okay?
well, that's just my opinion. I'm just, from the stuff we looked at it on that computer up there, that's why I came.
What would be the, your estimate of what, based on our usage, what would be the increase in revenue with this, implementing this? Not revenue, but recouping of costs, or some of that.
Can I see it?
$1,500, $2,000?
yeah, I mean, it's really not
No.
a lot. I
No,
won't
not at
get
all.
nowhere near the 75,000 that we're putting out, but it'll at least, and we do ask that they pay a damage deposit. It's a $300 damage deposit that, as long as everything's returned as is, we do give that back, but.
It costs me more money at this point in time to clean that place up daily, as a walk around than it does to rent that out to anybody.
Now, when we saw competition, wasn't it, it's come back, you know, it was $30 an hour when it broke down to on their side.
Yes.
So we were still much cheaper,
And now we're at 40 at this point in time.
for 2 hours. So that's $20 an hour.
Yeah.
So that's still way below everybody
Market
else.
value.
I'd still like to just keep it free for veterans and anybody else has to pay.
That's kind of where we're
That's-
at, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty much
Yeah,
where we're at.
that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep going back and forth.
No,
Saying 501.
no, the only thing what I believe, is the way it was set up originally was the only one is the 501c3, which is non-political, non-such and such. They would get this other rate. All other ones are pay a different rate. And the only thing that I would even support a change on that is if we change that to allow for 3 hours for like those nonprofits, that they take a little longer. They're there every week. Rotary's there every week. But every once in a while they go over it, so they end up paying double the amount, so to speak. But we can give them maybe 3 hours for that amount, for that $40. If you're 501c3 only, not 4 or 5 or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, and I
then,
do have it in
other
the
than that, they
policy,
pay
we'll
double.
verify.
And we have priority to veterans always, then 501c3s.
Veterans County 501(c)(3).
Yeah, and then local.
So the only thing different on this is the 3 hours instead of 2 hours for 501(c)(3).
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for simplifying it down.
No, that's fine.
Okay, we'll bring it forward.
Thank you.
That's it for me, now you.
Motor pool?
Yeah, so now we're at motor pools. So I just wanted to go over, we got an email that said, departments come in, tell you what's going on in your department, tell you what's going on, what's the up. So I decided to come in about motor pools. So new vehicles are coming in. You should have been able to see them, they're little Maverick trucks out there.
They're so
I
cute.
believe all the staff like them at this point in time. I think I've got a dozen of them in, and I'm waiting for 6 more. But in the budget briefing, when we were doing the budget briefing, there was the environmental health asked for an extra vehicle. I believe they had the funding for it, the grant funding, and I believe we said yes on that. And then the assessor asked for a 5th vehicle because they got another appraiser. I'm not sure where that went there. I thought it was a yes, but I don't know that. Jen, did you look that up at all?
Yeah, we did not put it into the budget for them.
But if we give a position, we usually almost always,
For the assessor.
fund whatever tools necessary, and they're gonna have to have
As long
another
as
car.
they're, yeah, if they're out on the road, then
It's definitely on the road person.
Yeah.
So my thinking was on this, instead of going out and buying 2 new vehicles, since I got these vehicles coming in, I could keep back 2 of the vehicles. We have 2 little other trucks that we already have, Ford Rangers. One of them has 16,000 miles on it, and one of them's north of that a little bit. If I was to keep those trucks, that would give us the 2 extra fleet that we needed to cover those 2 positions. And
The question is though, when we entered an agreement with Enterprise, the idea was they would sell it when the market would do it, and we actually become positive with it.
correct.
Are these vehicles that we would become positive with, and does that make a difference if we go ahead and take in a new vehicle? Because we're still gonna be paying for this one. It doesn't, the
And
price
that-
of it doesn't go away. The lease price.
The lease price will go away at the end. When, this year?
It doesn't go away.
Yeah,
So,
it's a lease.
yeah, so we would definitely be paying out,
For an older vehicle and stuff, where we might be better off just bringing in the new one, collecting what we did. That's why the cost went down.
I mean,
Could you kind of run numbers and
yeah, I
see?
can run some
where-
numbers on that.
Because I hate to assume.
Okay.
Yeah, when we made the deal with them, they were gonna come to us when it was.
Absolutely, yep.
But we still have to pay for a lease, even if we keep the older vehicle. So if we get rid of it and close that one out, are they gonna charge us
We
more
will
for
own
the-
that vehicle at the
No,
end.
we don't own it though. They get to sell it.
We own it, but we still have to pay, a maintenance fee, like, we don't pay the capital lease,
Yeah.
cost, but we do pay a pretty significant,
Yeah.
monthly fee on it.
So let's see what that is and see if it's profitable.
Okay.
And so you're talking about adding another
Into the lease.
new cars and getting rid of the
Yeah.
2 low mileage ones.
You know, for example, I'm just using a number out of my head, if we're paying $250 a month for this vehicle, and we turn that back in, we're paying $275 a month for this other one, then are we better off with that, because we get the other money back?
I totally understand.
That's the question.
So why did the other 2 have such low mileage, do we know?
They're just not used as much. I mean, I've got cars with less miles. I got, a volunteer car up north that's only got a couple thousand miles on it. But we're working through that. We're talking, what are we gonna do there? You know, maybe that person doesn't need a car. Maybe that department, part of it doesn't need one, so.
Do they?
It was a volunteer car for the sheriff's office, and they were very hot and heavy at the beginning. We really used that up and went and served warrants, but I don't know if they're doing that as much now. I think we have our own officers maybe doing that, so that car doesn't go as
So
much.
May not
Yeah.
need it.
Maybe we switch that.
Mm-hmm.
That, if we're already sent the other 2 out, we're already scheduled to do it, maybe we take one that we're already using, then we save that money. If we're already not gonna get rid of that car, then we just rearrange how we do it. That
In the
seems-
past, that's what I've always took a washed-down cop car.
Yeah,
And usually the facilities guys get that, or the fire marshal got a washed-down cop car, or DEM got one. But that's the way I've done it in the past.
so I'd like to see you look at that first and
Okay.
then come back with us, but if it washes out, then let's get the newer vehicles and, lower gas, lower maintenance, lower everything else.
Okay.
Especially the Mavericks.
Yeah.
They get 50 miles a gallon.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be saving money on these Mavericks. They're better gas mileage. That's all I had.
All right. Now I think Vanessa is up. Talk about grants.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, poor thing, you're out there, she's losing her lung right now.
Yeah, we can wait for a second.
Yeah.
Sharon will come back in just a second.
Yep.
She can keep it to herself, thank you.
That's why I was thinking, wash your hands before you come back.
least I'm assuming she's coming back. Didn't actually ask her, I guess.
She said she would be right back.
Oh, okay. And there she is. We didn't talk about you at all while you were gone.
I'm gonna go back and listen.
Oh, that's right.
Boring.
Boy, we sure called the road fund, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, I know, they're beginning fund
We
balance.
were
Yeah.
right on.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I
He's gonna
shared,
give us an update on Grant. How's he doing?
he's very busy. I shared a document of grants that have been applied for this year, as well as the grants that are in progress. And that's the shaded section of grants. There's one correction, which is the boating facilities program, which doesn't open until this summer. So that's great for me. I'm supporting Public Works with several things, including 2 roads grants. And also, there are a couple RCO grants for the Mason Lake Campground that I'm looking at that are open right now. Do you have any questions about any of those?
No,
I do not.
I
Okay.
loved seeing the one about the South Side School project.
I am getting a lot of requests for looking for funds for different things. So
Shocker.
the word's getting out that I'm here. I'm very busy.
Do you get requests from outside the county? Because I want to make sure that we're not, our focus is Mason County, or county.
County.
If that makes sense.
So it's within the county, but not necessarily the county. For example, I assisted MaceCom with a little bit of writing for a grant that the sheriff's office was interested in, but they wanted MaceCom to apply for. I don't know if they actually did, but I did help draft some narrative for at least the county part of it. Island Lake is looking at a grant, the one that we helped
For
the Mason Lake LMD apply for, and that one opens in November, so they do have some time. But I will probably have to apply with the ecology portal. That's just how it's done,
gotcha.
but most of the work will be on their end.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Well, this is awesome. I'm glad we have you.
Thank you.
All right, if we've got no other questions, we'll pivot to Kathy.
Pivot.
Pivot.
So mine's pretty quick and easy. It's the oath of inventory. It's done once a year. In the packet was a review of everybody's credit cards for every department and their limits, which altogether is about $280,000 in the credit card limits liability. The policy says that to get an okay for that you guys have reviewed it and the county administrator can sign. So this needs to go on the action agenda March 3rd. So I'm just requesting for an okay to put it on the action agenda for March 3rd. Travis is aware. I've told him how the process works, what he needs to sign and review, and so everything is fine, unless you guys have any questions.
Supportive.
Thank you.
See how easy that was.
That was wonderful, wasn't it?
Thank you for that. All right, and off to Jen.
Okay, so the first thing that I have for you is the long-awaited time and attendance module with Munis. So it was formerly known as ExecuTime, and we've looked at this, I think it's been about 5 years ago, the first time we looked at it, and we decided to wait on implementing until we got the chart of account changes done and position control implemented. So now that those two things are done. The position control is still a work in progress, but the majority of it is done. I am recommending, along with, I think Travis would back me up on this, and the IT steering committee, that we go and implement the time and attendance module. It would eliminate Excel paper timesheets, and with that Excel paper timesheets comes a lot of risk and duplication of effort, chasing down timesheets, I'm glad you stayed for this one.
Of course.
And
Look at you, Corinne.
I love this.
just a lot of inconsistency throughout the county, the way that we do Excel timesheets. So this would help to make everything more streamlined, would help with audits, help with, it would help with our process. I actually did up why this would be good, that I didn't include in our packet if you are interested in looking at that.
I don't need it. I am 100%
Well, I'll give it to you
supportive.
just because I'm giving it to everybody else. And Mackenzie, I have a copy for you as well.
So what will be some of the savings, if we spend the $30,000 a year, what's the expenditure savings that we'll be doing?
I mean, the savings would be standardizing the timekeeping, reduce dependency on key spreadsheet administrators. So right now, I mean, there's almost like this, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's this, when you send out the reminder,
Mhm.
timesheets are due, there's like a, almost like people don't want to turn in their paper timesheet, and maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like it's, people think it's dumb kind of thing to turn in a paper
And
timesheet.
outdated.
So yeah, it's just, it's
Mhm.
embarrassing that we're doing Excel
Mhm.
timesheets, really. So I mean, it's, what we would be paying for is, it would help with cost accounting. So it's like, it could eventually replace the cost accounting part that Public Works is on, WinCams. It would be one piece of their system that would help replace WinCams. So that is our ultimate goal, is to get us all on the same system.
So you're thinking in the long term, it'll offset some of that cost
Yes.
with the savings on the other?
Yeah, and help us to get all on one. I mean, it's very, the duplication of effort that we
Mhm.
have with WinCams and Munis, and then we have the health department that's using, you're welcome. You can keep that if you want.
Oh,
Okay. The health department is on Access, which is not supported anymore, so if it breaks, I mean, it's done. So this would help with
And you
their
think they'll be able
timesheets.
to,
Yeah, I think that this, I believe they've watched
that's
the
all right, I'm sold,
module.
I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not articulating
No,
it
you
very
did.
well, but it's.
I understood what you just said, you
Yes,
just
you
showed
do.
me where the cost savings would be
Mhm.
in the long term of it. Everything has a cost, but is there a
Mhm.
benefit? This would be the benefit, and it's worth the investment at that point. I'm
Yeah, and
comfortable.
it's already on, it's a Munis product, so we know it's going to integrate with Munis. So we wouldn't have to go out for RFP, since it's already our software, our ERP system, so part of our ERP system. So, the ongoing cost would be about a little over 29,000 annually. The first year cost is just under 65,000 for 2026. And I'm not a big advocate
But it's a
of,
reoccurring of 30, right?
yes, a recurring 30,000 roughly. I'm not a big advocate of, implementing new software, but this would definitely help us and streamline our processes. And ultimately, I think it would result in a cost savings, but it is hard to quantify that cost savings before we've actually implemented it. But I would guess that it would save us, I mean,
It's also
30,000 in time and effort.
reduces potential input errors, I take it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Transfer errors.
Transfer errors, yes. Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, Excel, if the formulas aren't done correctly, then, you know, Kathy or whoever's doing, you know, checking the time has to correct it,
Mhm.
input it into Munis. This would go right into Munis, and it would eliminate a lot of duplicate entry. It would help with our grants, grant compliance. So, if you guys are okay with it, then I would recommend that we put it on the agenda and get it started.
I'm incredibly excited about this. I think that has it been 5 years or longer? Feels like it's been longer.
It might have been longer. I don't remember when we looked at it.
Because we were trying to get ExecuTime and grants all put in one, because it would be so much easier for everybody to track it.
Yeah, and on my,
The auditor's office would have a lot easier
yeah,
time also.
yeah, the
Mhm.
financial services
Mhm.
department and our state auditor's office, they
Yes.
would, I think,
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah.
On the briefing cover sheet, I copied over one of my other briefing sheets and the one where I had done a joint briefing with MCSO. So this isn't really joint with MCSO, but I
they're
think
gonna
they
be
would
super
support it.
excited.
Yeah. They've watched this presentation, I think, 3 different times in, you know, about 5 years ago, roughly. And they were so excited about it and were very disappointed when we halted it because we were not ready.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Nope. 100% support.
Sounds like you've got 3 nods.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's a hard sell.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know. Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Nice to get while you can.
Okay, I am going
Good call.
to share my screen
Guys.
for the next one. And this is the January financials. So beginning on page 2, I've got the revenue for January. In the general fund, we have received $2,557,581 this year compared to $2,440,988 last year. We're at 5% of our budgeted revenue this year compared to 6% last year. And in the treasurer's office, we have collected $1,334,139 this year, compared to $1,414,553 last year. We're at 4% of our budgeted revenue received this year, compared to 5% last year. You'll notice there's a bunch of negatives. This was due to reversals in the traffic diversion. We cannot collect more than $1,080,000 or whatever we have, whatever you have approved.
How much was it that we returned?
It was, I forget what it was. I want to say it was like 80,000 total. This shows 74,000, but
Close enough.
some of that was, yeah, part of the road.
Just keep track for blocks.
Yeah, I think it was roughly 80,000 in total that we returned. So this year, in 2026, I'll try to remind them to do that, the reversal in December, so that we don't show that negative in January, or as much of a negative in January. On the current expense expenditures, we have expended in January of this year $6,674,304 compared to last year $4,326,181, and that looks like a huge difference, but the majority of that is in non-departmental. We had a $2.4 million payment to the risk pool. that used to be due in October of each year, but now has changed to January of each year. So this is the first year. So next year it won't look like such a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're at 12% of our budgeted, or our 12% of our budgeted expenditures this year compared to 8% last year. So if we remove that amount, we would have been at about a little over 7%, so we would have been right in line with last year.
So if we were comparing Octobers, it would look like we'd have a 4% bump this year,
Mhm.
but we've already spent it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
exactly.
it won't show up, but. It'll balance out in October.
Yeah, it should, yeah. For the special, or, I'm sorry, the 6-year specific revenue streams comparison, community development, revenue is down over the prior 5 years.
Looking at REIT, as it's coming up on, that'll explain why some of the, because if they're not selling, they're not building either. It goes hand in hand. When there's a lot more selling, then a lot more people are wanting to invest to build.
Yeah. Yeah, so those two things are down. I mean, hopefully that'll change. I mean, I'm sure January is kind of a hard indicator.
Not when you had a decent December.
Okay.
We had a decent December and November, which means it should have been higher than this. But I know the market is soft right now, but that's showing that it is soft. Usually when that goes down, it's because we had a bad winter, bad early winter, and people aren't out buying and showing and stuff like that, but.
Everything else looks to be pretty well in line to me. If you have any questions, just stop me along the way. The sales tax for January was pretty even with last year's January. We received $787,917 compared to last year we received just under $786,000. So pretty flat. The 6-year financial recap. So our cash balance at the end of January is $20,258,248, and that is close to $5 million less than what we had last year. So, and as you can see, the reserves, the way that they're presented here, we are showing the negative $350,000 in unreserved cash. So.
And I don't like the direction we're going, but it's not as bad as it looks. It's still bad in my opinion, but it's not as bad as it looks. As was she gave me a heads up a while back, so I was looking for that. We expended $2 million that we normally would not have. So the negative instead of $5 million in my head is $3 million, but that's still a lot different. But that's better than 5. Mm-hmm. That also would change our how we would look at our cash. What's the other one there? Right there, our current expense unreserved cash, that would change that to be 1.5 million in the positive on a normal year. It's still way lower than where it should be in my opinion, but it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, and some of our reserves, the technology replacement reserve, I mean, I've kept it at 400,000 over the last few years, but really that's probably a little bit high. And then the vehicle replacement reserve, $1 million, is pretty conservative as well.
Well, we can always choose to reserve less money, but that doesn't mean, that means we spend more money. There's no way around it. Having a reserve is not a bad thing. And,
no.
And, when you get rid of them, you're just agreeing to reserve less to spend more. That's just that simple. So I'm not a fan of changing those things around. We keep and live within our means, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying our reserves are very, very conservative. I mean, we already budget to expend a lot of these expenditures, like the technology replacement reserves. We already budget those out of IT fund. So that's something that we could choose to, show as a little bit lower here, and it wouldn't affect the policy. The reserve policy is what I'm referring to. The budget recap, so our revenues in January were at 5% of what we budgeted to receive, and that's pretty well in line with the prior 5 years. And then our expenditures again are 12%, which is a lot higher than the previous 5 years, but again, that's due to that risk pool
Like
payment.
2 million. What would that come out to percentage-wise in your head, just?
It would come out to 7.4 roughly. Yeah,
That's what I.
I calculated that before the
Yeah.
meeting. The special fund cash balances at the end of January were $68,749,520, and that is an increase over the prior 5 years. So all the other funds are doing well, it looks like, or most of them are doing pretty well. Roads in particular, they are just under $15 million, and ER&R is just under 6.5 million.
I want to verify for myself, the ER&R is completely separate than the other, their cash on hand is not affected by the ER&R cash on hand, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to I thought so,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure, okay.
Yeah.
Which again, we called that number pretty darn close when looking at the future on that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. The motor pool expenditures through January, we budgeted $1,944,000, and we have expended $140,511. At this point last year, we had expended $105,259. So that looks pretty comparable when you consider all of the new vehicles that are coming in. So.
And again, we've proven to save millions of dollars just by
Yeah.
doing what we did, so even if it takes a bad jump, we've already enjoyed the benefits. We've
Yeah.
got a long time before we're going
Yeah,
backwards.
it does make me nervous to add more cars in there, because we don't have any cheap cars anymore. Like, every time we add one,
I think we have
that-
one,
Yeah, I think there's maybe,
and
yeah,
it's
a
parked
couple.
out there.
Yeah,
So let me ask this, would you feel comfortable within our numbers to add one more and take that other one that's the sheriff's and have that used internally while still getting rid of this other two? I know you can see what I was talking about if we kept them, it's kind of a wash, so that's not.
maybe, I mean, I don't know at this point in time, how that will end up looking with all of the turnaround that we're doing, turning the cars over sooner. I mean, I almost feel like it might be a good idea to have more motor pool cars. If there's departments that are not putting miles on
Right.
them,
Yeah.
then why
Right.
don't we have more of
No,
a centralized
We're
motor
following
pool?
you on
Yeah,
that, that's
that was my
what, that's
thought
why
too.
we're asking that, but if we switch out, the assessor's gonna use that car, there's no way around it, they have to go all over the
But if you've got,
county.
like, the volunteers,
That could be on a
or-
motor pool, yes.
yeah, or something else.
And I'm more comfortable leaving one that we were already going to keep and using it internally, that saves us that amount of money than just bringing in two new cars, for example.
Yeah, maybe. I can work up some numbers with Kelly
Please.
and then bring it back to you next week. On the special fund revenue, we have received, in all the special funds through January, $2,834,191 this year, compared to $3,218,392 last year. We're at 5% of our budgeted revenue this year, compared to 6% last year. And the special fund expenditures, we have expended $6,139,737 this year, compared to $3,771,663 last year, and we're at 5% of our budget in each year. The county debt, we in January have $14,512,422 in total outstanding debt, and I think that was the same. Yeah, that has not changed since December. So any questions or any other
On
stuff?
cash on hand, we do. We've got some possible big purchases that we need to be looking at, and we've amassed quite a bit of money, but how much do we have that is obligated under the REIT 2 fund?
I can look at that.
Please do. It shows that we're currently at about 8 million. We have pond issues up in for wastewater. We have Russellwood issue when it comes to some pipes and stuff like that that have come through, and we may have to do something about that. And REIT is a great one if it's not obligated and doesn't bring us down. I like keeping a big reserve in REIT too, but 8 million is a huge amount for us.
Yeah, I know we had planned on the Belfair sewer debt payoff in 2027. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
forget how much that is off the top of my head, but I'll look at all of that, how much we have obligated there.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, we can use REIT 1 and 2 for the same purposes
Yes.
now. We can continue to keep them separate here, but just a
So if
reminder.
you could just, let us know, itemize down what we have that we've already promised it out for.
Okay.
Then stick with 2 million reserves staying in there and see what we have to work with,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if there's something you already think that is coming or you believe is gonna come, leave that in there as well, because let's have it for when it's needed. The idea is to keep a couple million each one. And then we'll ask them if they can get us some numbers for replacement of that pipe and what it would look like for the pond and spend the money.
Sounds good.
So if you back up to the special and other funds expenditure comparison, why the jump so much?
A lot of these funds have different revenue, different grant sources every year, and so it's not gonna look as consistent as the general fund typically. I haven't analyzed it like in detail to see, and usually health is, a good example. This year they've expended $867,000 compared to last year, $309,000. So that would be a lot of it.
And for revenue on hand, they're famous for being tied to the legislature, and they go long, so does the money coming in, and it can be extreme. We've had years where September, we're still looking for money.
Yeah, roads is another one. They have $2.74 million in expenditures this year compared to 1.74 last year roughly.
So that's the big chunk of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're not as consistent with their everyday operating expenditures. I mean, they are. I shouldn't say they're not as consistent with their everyday operating expenditures. They have more capital and other types of expenditures than the general fund. The general fund is, it just has more consistent type expenditures.
Well, they've also been good with storing up their money, setting up their own reserve without it being a reserve, and just keep money and then going after their projects when they know they have the cash. Historically, they're just good at that. So sometimes it looks like they have more, but they have plans. We just,
Yeah, and it might be,
equipment is a great example of that. They're gonna come to us here eventually with.
yeah, it could be like a timing on reimbursement issue as well. So it shouldn't be alarming at all.
Okay.
All right, that's all that I have for you, so I'll stop my share and let you get on with the briefing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, I have two brief items. The first one is a circle back on an item that we've been discussing for a while. It was a request to rename the Pretty Creek Bridge to the Senator Tim Sheldon Bridge. This request is simply to move forward with the public hearing so that we can petition the Department of Transportation for that name change. This was the recommended method by which we should do this, and so we're just simply moving this process forward.
Again, pat on the back to our lobbyist who's was recommending handling this, but that was pretty smart. That was a good chess game, that was a good chess move.
Okay, no problem with that.
No?
The other one is the letter of support for Senate Bill 6239. I don't know what the most current update on this is, to be quite honest. I didn't have a chance to look this morning.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I handed to me.
yep.
I'm
I'm,
6239 is in the, I believe it's in the House now. Yes, House Civil Rights and Judiciary, scheduled for executive session. So it's moving along quickly. If you look at the roll call on this, it's got a good roll call, in my opinion. McCune, Short, Wagner, Warnick, a lot of solid representatives are in support of this bill, so I think it's gonna move along quickly.
I'd like to see us, if we can, on behalf of RISPO, go ahead and have our administrator. I know they'd rather have the commission sign it, but we don't have a meeting to actually take an action, so, and I still think, just my personal belief, even if you guys told me I would, I'd sign it as one commissioner, but I think we're better off when we stick to our past practice, which has been to empower our administrator to sign on our behalf based on our head shakes today.
I'm nodding in agreement.
Okay, no problem. We'll
But
have
in
that
in
put
your letter,
together.
acknowledge that you have been given the authority from the commission to do this, and that's, I think we can.
Perfect.
So,
Yep.
No.
We can make that happen. The only other thing I wanted to bring forward real quick is that we did not get any applications for the salary commission for the commissioner's appointment. We do have one position that is open. That is a commissioner's appointment.
Let's go out again, and he can still do his thing, and it's appointed his, and they can do business. You made that clear to us before.
That's great.
Without it, so let's go ahead and do it, and we'll go out again.
Yep. And I would
Was this
recommend
one
that.
at large or by a location?
Actually, none of the commissioner appointments are by district. They are all at large.
Okay.
And so it could come from any one of the, so if you know anybody who you think would be great
I'll
and
put it
should
on
apply,
Facebook. I'll
by
put it on
all
Facebook.
means, get them to apply so that we can
Okay.
move forward with recommendations. So, but you're absolutely correct, that is not going to impede the progress of the commission. That will be moving forward. Our first meeting is on March 16th from 17:30 to 1900, so.
March 13th, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say 13th? I mean 16th.
16th is
Yes.
all that.
And we have,
Every
how many
16th.
meetings before that? We have, one.
With the third, and then,
No. Well, that's a briefing.
If we're gonna appoint, we'd have to.
and
Yeah,
we have
well,
a meeting
they'll-
on the third, and then we have a meeting.
They'll be welcome to
on
jump in
17th.
whenever the appointment is
So
made.
one day late, yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get somebody immediately and we can interview them. Okay.
Perfect, that's all I have.
Okay. Public Works. Good morning.
We have a lot of road items this morning, so I hand it off to Mike right out of the gate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have some grants that we're gonna apply for. What was that?
Good morning.
One is the fish barrier removal grant. We have design, preliminary designs already for Lynch 3.92 culvert on Lynch Road, and then we have the Uncle John's lower culvert. We're gonna apply for construction funds for these projects, so
Very cool.
if the board authorizes.
Yes, please.
And then we have,
Like some of these, it's like, it's just silly.
it's what?
It's silly to ask for permission. It's like, just do it.
Just do it, okay. We have a Safe Route for School grant. We're going to apply for Collier Road, which would be a large project where we would realign the road, get parking and sidewalks and the whole 9 yards if we can get the grant. That's to Southside School.
Okay. Yes, please.
You know that one, right?
Yes, I do.
Then there's the bicycle and pedestrian grant, and we were looking at Arcadia Road to kind of tie that in with Collier, right there at intersection, and run wide paths all the way out to Lynch Road. So that'd be a pretty large project there. So,
There's a lot of people that would use it too.
yes.
Yes.
Bless you.
And then the next item would be, we'd like to establish a CRP number 2074 for Highland Road. That's milepost 4.62 to 7.92. That would be potential for STP, or a surface transportation project, for next year. That road condition right now is just chip seal, old chip seal, raveling loose, coming apart, no crown, that type of thing. So it'd be a good candidate for the STP project. We keep starting that STP project earlier and earlier for next year, because that's the only way we can get it through local programs to actually get it construction in the same year. So we're working pretty good on that. So next one is a private line occupancy permit.
3 times real fast.
Right. Robert Oldright, he's requesting for a residential septic transportation line across North Shore Road, and we're recommending the board to approve that. Pretty common. Next is setting a hearing for Forged Fiber 37 LC. It's a franchise. It's a franchise agreement. They're through AT&T, the original AT&T. So we're recommending to have a hearing set on March 31st to consider approval for the application.
All right.
And that's all I got.
I'd say yes to all the above.
All the above.
Okay.
The private line sewer system, is that like he owns property on either side of the road?
That's typical North Shore, all the way through there. Sometimes we'll get one of these every once in a while, sometimes there'll be 10 of them. So they've been pretty slow lately, but they're gonna start picking back up probably, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up, we have the lease agreement with the Victor Improvement Club. And for this.
No purchase, just lease, huh?
Well, what this does, what we're asking for, commissioners, at this time is to extend or amend the current agreement to extend it until June. And during that time,
You'll keep
we
working on
will, yes, we'll keep working on
I'm
it.
supportive.
Yeah, but what we want to do is schedule an executive session with you commissioners to talk about details about that, and we'll carry on. But had really good meetings with the club members, and it's been very helpful to hear what their concerns are, and of course what ours are, as far as being responsive to ratepayers and all those good things. And then Mike was able to attend our last meeting to also talk about the intersection of Victor and 302. So one of the things that we've been discussing with the club members is the old fire station there. And they're interested, it hasn't been occupied for a while, actually.
That makes sense.
And so they're wanting to basically have that demolished. And that would be helpful for us in terms of site distance. Doesn't solve everything, right, Mike?
Nope.
But would certainly be an improvement. So these are some of the things that we're talking with the club about.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it'll improve the site distance, but the gradient's like 18% right there before it gets to the highway. And so doing some kind of regrade or alignment change and stuff there. So what we're doing is we've just got permission to rights of entry for the adjacent property owner. They've got a lot there that's, there's no structure on, and they've logged it a few years back, and so possibly making a reline to flatten that grade out, we might be able to get it down to 7 or 8% instead of 18. And try to improve the line of sight on that too,
Very.
so it'll be a,
Yeah, that gets iced down.
it's a
Yes,
future project,
yeah.
so.
All right, that's it for action items. And then we have some applications for our advisory committees. So on our Solid Waste Advisory Committee, we have 2 folks that are re-upping, right, Richard?
That's right, yeah. Chad, our solid waste industry rep, and Linda Links.
Yes, please.
Yes, please, on both. Cool.
So just move those ahead for action to reappoint. Okay. And then we have a new applicant, Dane Bonnell, and Dane is not necessarily an industry rep for the SWAC, but I think you read the application, so is applying from a prospective employees. So, I know that our attachment asked, do you want to interview or do you want to appoint? And I guess the other thing that really we should talk about is as Dane pointed out in this application, is this a potential conflict of interest, and how do commissioners feel about that?
Commissioner Trask serves on that board
I do.
after she gets her breath. We heard her lose her lung out there earlier.
Oh, yikes.
I don't think his application fits the, what
The
SWAC
intent.
does. Right.
Yeah.
And so I would recommend that we don't move ahead with it.
I'm in agreement that it's her committee. We all know how I do believe in that.
Yeah, and typically, I mean, the purpose of a solid waste advisory committee is to have
Solid waste.
various representative from different industries. So, if we're looking for plastics recycling, for example, or if tires were a big problem, if we had large waste generators in the county, those are the types of things that you are looking for representation on, so that you've got a good window into that particular industry and how we can best manage those wastes. Okay, all right. Commissioner Tarzan,
We're not
any other?
moving forward with this
Okay.
here, so.
All right. Okay, and then the last thing I have that didn't get on the discussion, I'm gonna be having my knee replaced. So I'll be out starting Friday.
The stuff they can do now, though,
I
is just
know.
amazing. You'll be back running around, walking in no time, going, why didn't I do it earlier?
And you walking the same day.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy.
I know. They give you the boot right out of the gate, so I've already got my walker.
Nice.
I asked Rick, I said, so should I get a shawl? And, you know,
Yeah, there you go.
he's
We can get a
no.
little life basket to go in it.
Right. A little Pomeranian to go in it, I don't know.
That'd be sweet.
Anywho, Mike's in charge, so you gotta keep an eye on him, because whenever I'm
dear.
out, he looks for black ops to carry out, so.
That's not fair. Not fair
That's
representation.
right. Richard wants some black ops too.
Brown ops.
Brown ops.
So,
So it'll be about a
It is
month.
what it is.
That I'm
He's got to accept
dedicated,
it.
but we'll see how that
So
goes.
now, I sent you something from the public. Have you had a chance to look at it? The burning?
Yes.
Can you please explain that to me, because I have to explain to them.
Sure. Mike's all over it.
We had a permit for burning some stumps and logs that we had out at the Isabel site. The permit ran out, the fire was put out, but it started back over. And then this morning, what we discovered is somebody is throwing some of our post,
stuff,
you know,
yeah.
guardrail post onto that. It's all put out now, it's cleaned up, posts are taken care of, everything's cleaned up now.
Okay, so one of the questions they're going to ask, though, is are we handling it, you know,
We
Right.
did not burn the posts, if
No.
that's what you're
No.
wondering.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I would respond, our staff were not the ones that did it, but it
Yeah.
has been handled, taken care of,
Yeah.
and it has been put out.
Yeah.
Is that a realistic explanation that I
Yes,
can
that
share?
is. That pit is frequented by people,
Other
on the
than-
weekends especially.
Yeah.
They shoot there and do different things there. They're not too bad about, because we usually don't have stuff there, but we did. Our fault was that the smoldering fire did come back to life. We should have
Yeah.
spread it out more.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't actually put any of the posts on there. What we do with the posts, usually leave them outside of the facility there and write free on them, and they disappear for landscaping, different things like that, so.
No, that actually helps me. I can explain all that, and that's what I need. Thank you.
Yeah. So, we
Everybody
should
likes a
put
good
fire out.
bonfire.
Right, exactly.
That's what they were probably.
It was plenty cold, it was
planning on.
bonfire
Uh-huh.
weather.
You know,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we don't dispose of those posts that way, so.
All right,
Imagine
Commissioner.
it's toxic fumes when you do that.
Treated, I mean, the posts are treated,
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
Anything else?
Nope, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm an a-hole for whatever it is. That's all right too, but it's just, it makes it easier if I can explain.
Sure.
And I'm very happy it isn't us. Didn't seem like something we would do. And what a great explanation though. All I have to do is put free on it, it's gone. Yes, I can imagine that.
it's gone.
That's about as accurate a statement as you're gonna get.
We've been doing that for quite a few years now, at like Kay's Corner up on the North Shore, putting logs there and stuff, and they get it, when they take it and utilize it for their own stoves and stuff like that, instead of us just burning a big pile of it, so. But the stuff we were burning out at Isabel was actually stumps and stuff, so they don't haul those off, so we tried.
Nobody would take them.
Nobody did.
And if you haven't been out Cloqualum recently, it's pretty impressive to see what the crew's done there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Sounds
opening
like a road
up
trip.
and back slopes and
far out they go?
widening, and it looks really nice,
How far out
rebuilding
are
the
they?
shoulders.
We went from
Makes a
the
difference.
state highway
Yes,
all the way
it's-
to Wyville Hill or Rock Creek.
Oh, wow.
And we widened everything out. There's a contract gonna pave the shoulders and stuff, but what we do is did the dirt work ourselves. We even rented a large hammer to put on an excavator and broke up some of the black rock that was along there and stuff too. So it really, it tremendously opens up a line of sight around the curves and stuff, so it really improves it. So that's a HSIP project that's gonna get paved this summer, so. But we sneak in and do the dirt work first, so
It saves us money.
it
Yes,
saves
it
us a lot of
does.
money. So, but that'll tie in right to the next project, which is a RAP project. It goes up Wyville Hill. And then we're submitting for another project for RAP from the top of Wyville Hill to Highland. And so we'll be almost getting all of Qualm here in a few years, so,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes those corners are tricky.
Yeah, that's where at the bottom of Wyville Hill, that's when they come down the hill and they miss that corner. That's usually where they're wrecking. That's usually where the log truck turns over. It's usually where all the things happen, so. But
Those people.
Those people.
Those people.
And the grant writer word is out. I think Tanessa was in earlier to talk about her projects. And the more and more we become familiar with her skills, I think the more and more work is heading her way.
Oh,
And
good.
so, yeah, we've really appreciated Tanessa's assistance on various projects, even if it's for a portion of it. It's very helpful, so,
Yep, she's pretty awesome.
yeah.
I'm a little outside the box, and nobody's gonna like what I'm gonna ask on this one, but I'm thinking about Russell, when I'm thinking about this pipes. If we were to do a big project like that, we were to spend money out of REIT, is that something that we would maybe have a discussion on an assessment or something? For maybe part of it, if we were to do something like that?
Well, right now, we're in the survey phase, as in laying out what exactly needs to be replaced and then getting together what is the scope and what is the budget that we need for this project. So in a couple, I'm not sure how much longer, a couple, 3 weeks, we should have that together. So at that time, we'll know, like, are we talking millions, are we talking 500,000?
But
How big,
would it be
how
able
big
to-
of a project is
But would it be
this?
able to be through an assessment or partial through an assessment or something like that? I'm not saying to do it, I just, you know, we take the information in as much as we can, then we make our decisions based upon it. So the question I'm asking for an answer to later, you don't have to have it today, is that something that may be one of the options we should look at?
Well, it's, yeah, I'm not sure,
Because we can't charge.
rate would be,
That's more of a long-term, they got water departments, stuff like that, they do different assessments, and, you know, water companies, and, I don't know, it's just something that, and I'm not even saying that we should do it, but
yeah.
if we can, we need to have that information to make our best decisions. Because that is why we have REIT and stuff anyway.
Sure.
And currently, I don't remember seeing it up in this levels. In REIT two, there's almost $8 million right now in REIT two.
Yeah.
Another 3 million in REIT one.
Yeah, but I wanna make sure that we look at the, what's obligated already.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then long-term cycles, I mean, that's one of those things that you've got a different curve, right? So 5 years look back is not necessarily telling what the trend is, which I know you all know.
Actually, though, I've been here for 14 and we spend that money. We don't let it get, there's no trend. We are always just holding enough. And it's only been the last few years that it's starting to become something that we actually have the ability to do new projects with.
Yeah, I was thinking more of the replenishing
Right.
of the REIT, yeah, not the spending side.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll carry on, unless there's anything else.
Have fun.
I will.
I'm debating whether to, are we meeting right after briefing, or waiting till 1? No, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Say, I'm on your clock, so I don't know.
All right, Commissioner discussion.
I got nothing.
I have nothing.
The only thing I'd like to bring out is the public defense. I was trying to put together the numbers on what the number of public defenders we're gonna need, and just looking at it, it looks like we're gonna need to add like 40 of them to fulfill what the Supreme Court says we
Yep.
need.
And no county is gonna be able to do that, or city.
Yeah,
But in what he presented me, and I was reading it, I automatically think differently, you know, that I think outside the box different than everybody. There's a possibility there that we may be able to change, we may be able to weight them based on what their requirement is. If we take the 1,800 hours and create 47 credits out of 1,800 hours, we get a
According
sense.
to charge.
Huh?
According to charge. According to the charge.
Yes, but not necessarily. It may be also how many hours they spend on it. If we decide to do that with how we use the credits, it's based on how many hours they spend on it. But as Pat pointed out, there's a minimum. So no matter what, you have a minimum, but we could back into it. Now, we can back into it at 10% a year too. That might be the game changer, so we are allowed to get as much use out of it. As long as we get to 1,800 hours, we wouldn't want more than that out of a person anyway. What I'm afraid of is they're gonna be putting in 800 hours a year and get paid. That's what I'm worried about. So if we set it up this way, we may be the first, would be the first time Mason County does it different than everybody else, and it changes things. But it's something to look at and think about, and I'll talk to Tim about it and see what he thinks about that idea. But it just hit me when he handed me this stuff and let me read through it. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. I see that. I don't know that they thought of it that way, but
I've not seen it.
I'm just weird.
it's the email that Mike sent last week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just gave it to me, so I read it within my hand. It's hard to do it on the phone. But I seen that 1,800 number and I thought, okay, that could be our,
Yeah, we have to come up with something.
yeah,
And you're working on the resolution, right?
It's done. I just need to bring it forward.
yeah.
Yep.
And that doesn't interfere with anything we just talked about, that just gets us set up.
Yeah, it went to all of us.
Yeah, I
Sure.
thought you were talking about something different, so.
No,
Okay.
no, I just printed it out because same thing, I
Sometimes
wanted to
it's
study
easier.
it this
Yeah.
weekend. And
I don't do as well on reading the tiny phones, so.
that was really the only thing I wanted to bring up is, you know, what, we need to do something because the Supreme Court says as of January 1st this year, we have to do our 10% reduction. So we've got to come up with some sort of a policy, plan, procedure that covers us when the state auditor comes in and says, hey, you didn't follow this.
So right now, if we just did simple math, each credit would be 38 hours per credit. So if we looked at it from a different perspective, 38 hours per credit, we'd still get there much quicker because if each one's a third, it doesn't matter if they do 2 hours or what, that's still a third. So it would still eat it up quicker, but it still gives a lot more than we're looking at now using their formula. It's just, like I said, just an odd way of, but it might get us where we need to legally and allow us to still do well. And others, so if we do this, others will do it right away because it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of waiting because everyone knows that this is absolutely untenable
Right.
for every county. It's just not.
Well, we all react different. I remember during the Hearst decision, every county was closing down. And I'm sitting here in the room and I'm trying to talk to them and I said, I don't understand why you guys are all not doing your permits, because Spokane and all them. And then some guy starts yelling at me on the other end. I'm just sitting here in the room and I said, but we're not party to the lawsuit. And he yelled at me some more. They all tell me I'm wrong. And then there was some guy from, I think Ponderay or something, was like, wait a minute, let's go back for a minute. I think that guy might be right. And then they started changing. We were open when everybody else was closed just because we're different. We don't have to fit the big city models. We can't
Nor
afford
should
to.
we.
So,
We should be.
with that, would you like a motion, Mr. Chair?
Unless Commissioner Trask has anything.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I got a meeting in 15 minutes, so.